you ready to make technology work for you? Tune in to Act on Tech, the podcast where we break down the latest tech trends and show you how to boost your productivity at home and in your business. So, subscribe to Act on Tech today and visit alexcustomtech.com to see how we can take your business to the next level. That's Act on Tech, your guide to smarter tech for a smarter business. Alex Custom Tech, IT means integrity and trust.
Hello, hi, this is Alex of Alex Custom Tech, and today we're going to take on a topic that's kind of a hotbed right now. And earlier on this week, there was a news from out of China about a LLM that's called DeepSeek, and it's able to train. They're able to train this LLM way cheaper than we can here in the US with our big tech companies like Nvidia and Google and Microsoft and all this sort of stuff, because there's other companies out here that has LLMs, and we're going to talk about what that is. And again, my audience is not one that's like tech savvy, but I thought about this and I I said, should I take this topic on? Because what I'm trying to do here is expose you guys to the tech world and how it relates to your business where you are now. So this is why I'm going to tell you why I'm taking on this topic, and I'm going to talk about what these things are. Okay, so I'm Alex of Alex Custom Tech, and today we're going to be talking about LLMs, which are large language model. Okay, so the reason why we're talking about it. Okay, let's talk about that. Let me give it my mindset with this. So, in this is an emerging market, AI, and we did a podcast about this earlier, and then how you should embrace it because of the changes and so on and so forth. We are, whether we like it or not, I for one, in my personal life and in my business, I use ChatGPT, which is a large language model, and I use it, and it's very, very good. I like it a lot. Because I'm not very good at writing and grammar, being from a different culture, coming to this culture, like how to structure emails professionally and all this other stuff. Like I write my emails and then it will correct it, do my editing for me. It's a beautiful thing. So I use it in that context. And there's people who use it more than how I use it, and so on and so forth. But it doesn't make a difference. It's being used, and it's being used it's widespread use. It's growing, and some people pay for it, and so on. So what happened and what shook up the market this week is that when it was announced that DeepSeek can create this language model for a lot less, like 80%, if not mistaken, cheaper than Nvidia and all these other companies do. One of the companies, well, Nvidia went down in stock, but I'm gonna tell you why it went down in stock. And Google and all these other companies, tech companies, can create their own large language model, is because everybody was having their egg in one basket, and they were saying, oh, well, we're going in this direction with AI, with these language models, and we need to invest in these companies that make that learning process for the AI possible, because you need certain kind of hardware to achieve the learning process for the language. Hope I'm making any sense. So investing in Nvidia is a sure foot into the market. So when a company comes along and say, oh, we can do it for cheaper, and it's gonna shake up the whole market, I'm like, well, why am I investing in Nvidia when this company over here can do it a lot cheaper? And that's what caused the market to tank. Now, that being said, there is controversy about DeepSeek because it's from China and so on and so forth. I am not worried about that. China is a communist country and they do have censorship, but I'm gonna blow your minds. These AIs, these LLMs, all these LLMs are free, and you can run them locally in your home on your own computers. Now, yes, there's going to be prerequisite to do so. You need a certain kind of machine to run them, and a beefy laptop, a gaming laptop, a gaming machine could run these LLMs at home. What's cool about DeepSeek is that it doesn't take, it learns from the other major players in the game, and this is kind of how LLM works. They learn from each other. So the idea is for, like, say, ChatGPT, I don't even know the names of the other ones, but they learn. They get all the information out there on the internet, and it takes them a while to learn all this stuff, right? And the power or the resources to teach these LLM these lessons so that it can talk to us consumers takes a lot of money. I think it's like something, a couple $1 billion for it to learn. What DeepSeek does, it does that at a fraction of a price. So it's not learn. It doesn't have the power per se as those large scale LLMs, but it's good enough for me and you to use without us noticing that it's not as powerful as those. If that makes any sense, because like you can put it in your organization, you can focus on one topic, or you can narrow it down. Like for me, I'm doing the radio station, so I could have it here and have it just focus on like music trivia or something like that, right? So it wouldn't need to have that entire large database. It could just focus on just that one topic, and that's kind of the idea behind DeepSeek. And it does pull from those other ones. But what I like about it the most, and it's not just DeepSeek that does this, okay? Other ones do it too. But you can download this to your local machine. Again, you have a nice, decent machine with a good GPU, a good CPU, SSD RAM. You can have it, install it on your computer, probably using like, Protainer or Docker, and have it sit on your computer, and you can just talk to it that way without even going online and being kind of like, in that whole cybersecurity, China acting nefarious type of thing. So that's kind of my take on it, and this is why I want to bring it to my audience, so that here is things happening in real time in front of us. That's a market maker. This is revolutionary. Okay, it's very revolutionary. I heard one of my mentors use the example of Sputnik. So when there was the space race back in the day between America and Russia, when America really didn't get freaked out until Russia launched Sputnik and it was out there. When they did it first, then America started to panic, and then there was like, okay, who's gonna really be the one that's gonna go in space first? And that whole space race started. It's two giant superpowers competing for the AI space, right? And China just changed the game, right? So I have my own personal political and economical reasons why this is the way it is, why it's going the way it's going. But I think DeepSeek, what it's saying it can do, or what it's offering to the consumer, is good. And it might even change the game for the other players in the space. Now, the one thing about open AI or AI language and models is that most of the time they're free. And I mean, again, if you're using it on like ChatGPT, you can get the free version, or you can do the paid version. But those are out there in the cloud, and they have guardrails on them. So you really can't do too much with them. I'm not telling you guys to go crazy now and try to figure out how this stuff works. Again, it's a whole different thing. But the idea of this being able to run in your local organization, in your business, and targeting to like a particular topic or a particular narrowing it down so it doesn't get overwhelmed with all this information, it's very game changing. How cool would it be if you could have that in the organization where instead of you asking your coworkers questions, you can ask the AI and get a good answer, a solid answer. That's pretty interesting, right? How beneficial would that be? I know personally, as an introvert, I love it because I don't have to have anybody proofread my stuff. I could just have the AI proofread it and then make the corrections. I like that. I don't like working with other people. That's just me though. That's how I am. I do everything or 90% of the things on my own. So this to me is a game changer. And now as far as why the stock market went belly up, it's kind of what I alluded to earlier. The fact that we can train a language model for 80%, I'm just throwing numbers out there, I think it's probably like either 80 or 50% less than what we have been trading AI models for before, right? And everybody thought we had to train them for billions of dollars to train an AI model. Now we can train it for a fraction of the cost, is the reason why everybody's freaking out in the stock market, because everybody put their eggs in the Nvidia basket, because right now Nvidia was the leading chip maker for AI hardware, bar none. Like, people were just scooping up Nvidia stuff because they were the ones that were making the GPUs and the CPUs that's powerful enough to run these AI computations, right? Like, again, it's not just the GPU that does this. Like I said before, you need a couple hardware. So let me kind of run through. This is a synopsis of what's going on. But you're going to need a powerful GPU if you're going to run these AI models. You're going to need a powerful GPU. GPU is the graphic processing unit, and you're going to need a VRAM. So, and Apple has a fast RAM storage. They need an SSD. So normally, you have hard drives with a spinning hard drives or mechanical drives. You gotta run this with an SSD hard drive or VME. Those are fast-moving data across the motherboard and across the channels, and they can communicate real fast. And that's what you need, something like that, to process these AI models. And you need about dedicated graphics card with at least 12 gigabytes of VRAM alongside a substantial amount of RAM, like 64 gigabit or high speed SSD storage for smaller models. So there are different kind of models, and I think I was looking through it and it's really ridiculous how these things are set up. So again, we have computers now that we can purchase, gaming PC, laptops, that can handle this under the hood, right? And you could set this up in your organization where you have a dedicated server that houses the AI, and you can create a web browser locally in your intranet, and your coworkers could go there and log into it and then communicate with it. And it does not go on the internet, which means that China cannot pull anything from it. So that fear of China getting your information is not a thing, right? So that's why I'm saying, so people are freaked out, because here's why they were freaking out. Once they said China, because this is how propaganda works. Again, I'm not saying that China is a wonderful place, okay? I'm not saying that China, them being communist, is a red flag. But I don't think everything that comes out of China is bad, okay? As some people will want you to believe. So when they announced, DeepSeek said, yeah, we can do this, right? People questioning it, like, oh, I don't think so, it's from China, blah, blah. So when they used the AI model that's online and they looked up Tiananmen Square, it kind of blocked the information. Well, I can't tell you about Tiananmen Square, yada, yada. And they would say, well, it's being censored. Okay, fine, right? But if you do the local one, and run it on your own hardware, it gives you the information about Tiananmen Square. So, again, this is just one of those things that people are freaking out for no reason. Again, I'm not saying that the world is not, and I'm not into conspiracy theories, okay? I am not, but that doesn't mean that every single conspiracy theory is wrong. For it to even be so interesting is because you have some element of truth in it. But I'm not paranoid like that. I don't think DeepSeek is a problem. I think it's a game changer. I think it makes the market. I'm all for competition, and I'm all for, and it's not that it's gonna overtake what we have now, it's just gonna make these other guys, these big tech giants, really reevaluate how they're going about the AI process, because they were really making it unattainable. They were really making it for only the tech people, And again, by all means, I'm not intimidated by that, because I can dive in there along with the best of them and I can figure it out. But I would love if more people were able to do these things. I'm pretty sure there's other introverts out there that are not tech savvy, right? But they would love to use LLM, right? So how cool would it be if it's something that all I have to do is download and install it on the computer and off the races they go? So I would like it to be more accessible to everybody. That's kind of where I'm coming from. So I'm excited about the fact that it is. So yeah, DeepSeek is out there now. It's shaking up the industry as far as the LLM models, and it's large language models, and it's shaking up the stock markets, because now investors are wondering where to put their money, because they don't want to lose anything. Because again, if this comes out, Nvidia's a bubble, okay, and that's why people are freaking. That's why they're selling out the Nvidia stocks to go see if they can light themselves with this. What they're gonna invest in now, since this is on the market, because now it doesn't take $3, $4, $5 billion to train a LLM. It takes a fraction of that cost. So that was a waste of money, right? So it's very interesting. It's very interesting to see where it's gonna go, and I'm excited about it because I like when things are locally ran. I like when things are in my control, in my environment. I'm not against cloud computing. I'm not against cloud storage. I'm not against all of things out in the internet. What I don't like is this concept of subscription, this subscription thing. We're going down this subscription path, which I have always rejected. I am definitely a guy that has a lot of media, right? I have DVDs, I have CDs, I have records, I have media that I actually own. I don't subscribe to things, right? In my house, again, it's kind of going off topic. It's just that this is kind of where the big techs want us to go, and what we want to do as individuals. I like my freedom. I love my freedom, so I don't want to subscribe my life out to some tech company. I'm not against them creating things and making innovations, but I want to be able to buy once, right? When I pay for software, I don't want to keep paying for it. I don't want to keep paying for things. I want to buy it once and I own it forever and ever. Amen. So I'm like that. I'm old school. Again, a lot of people may disagree with me on this. I just like owning physical media and having physical license and physically owning something and paying for it one time. Right? And I'm not rich. I'm not rolling in dough. I just believe that that's how things should be. Ownership is key. Owning things, having your title, owning it is what every market should supposed to have something to produce. Now, again, I'm saying this and I'm an MSP, right? So I have customers that have some kind of a subscription basis with me, right? They got to pay for me every month for me to come look at their stuff, but they pay for me to be available to them each month. Not that they're paying for me for something that's different. It's kind of like an insurance policy. You pay Alex Custom Tech, and I watch your computers to make sure nothing goes wrong with it. That's what you're doing. So you're not calling me when something goes wrong, and then have to pay me arm and legs and 2 toes for me to repair it, in opposed to me having more of a preventative thing where I'm monitoring it. So before it gets to that point, I am already aware of it, and so it's more of a proactive thing in opposed to a reactionary thing. That's how I see my service, right? And I don't offer MSP service to everyone, right? Some people come to me and say, I want to pay every month. And I say, no, because your organization is not one that requires that kind of attentiveness. You can call me in a break fix thing, right? And that's kind of how I kind of navigate the space. So back to DeepSeek. I think this is cool. And again, I wish I knew the names of the other LLM models out there. I'm just kind of just like, when I come and do this podcast, 9 times out of 10, I'm winging it. If the news is interesting to me and I think I can make it in a way where I can convey to you guys what's going on, I'll try. So with DeepSeek, again, just to recap, it's a LLM model that learns from the other major LLM models, but at a fraction of the cost, right? And you can run this along with the other models. You can run this on decent hardware that you can purchase at any Walmart, Costco, Best Buy, whatever. You can purchase a gaming PC or a gaming laptop, and you can install this and you can run this LLM model on these computers, all right? And it's accessible now to everyone. Now, what is cool about DeepSeek is that it's learning from the major ones. And that's kind of how, in a synopsis, that's how LLM are. They're trained by other models, right? But normally it takes a lot of computing power for you to learn from another model. So they're doing it at a fraction of the cost. That's what makes it cool. Basically, they're saying they don't need NVIDIA to train their AI. Duh, that's what they're saying. Literally, they're saying without saying it. Like, y'all using NVIDIA, we don't have to, right? And that's what it is, because NVIDIA is expensive, right? These GPUs that have in these server farms are money, right? And they're saying, like, we don't need them. We can do with our model, we can train it without NVIDIA, and we can give it to everybody. So that's gonna shake up. That's gonna shake up the AI, stock market bubble thing. And again, it's kind of like I talked about when I was talking about AI initially. In the late 90s, right? Nobody knew what the internet was gonna do. Everything was all speculation. Like I told this before, it's all speculation. We don't know what it's gonna do, right? Things are gonna come, they're gonna make propositions, they're gonna do things, and then they're gonna say, wow, and then that's just gonna shape, and this what's gonna happen, it's gonna shape where the market goes. People, we're the ones gonna determine what's gonna be the winning product at the end. And it's all about how, not really me, because I like things. I'm not just saying it's not everything that, how do I say this? The things that I like, other people don't like. So I'm not going to use myself. And I'm the really bad example of how markets are going to go. The majority of people like when things are simple. They like when things doesn't require too much effort or too much knowledge. That's what they like. So this is what DeepSeek is kind of like, to me, is doing. It's making it accessible to more people than it was before. You might say, well, ChatGPT was accessible. Like, yeah, no. Because ChatGPT had a version that you can use, but then to get the better version, you got to pay for it. You got to subscribe to it. That's how you get the better version. But what if you can get a version that's as good as the one you pay for, but it's local and you don't pay for it? Okay? And that's what it is. And the whole concept about it being from China, you can eliminate that by just having it running your home server, and that's it. Right? So that's what I'm kind of getting at with this. And the idea of the subscriptions, it's kind of what I'm how I take it is like, we need to move away from that model. And I don't think you're going to lose any money if you make good products and people buy it. I just don't think the making one product and then charging everybody every month for access to that product, I think that's retarded. That's just my take on it. I think that's kind of wrong. I don't think that's right. Again, I don't have things that I subscribe to personally, right? Let me rephrase that. Because of my family, there is Paramount Plus. And that's the only thing I think I subscribe to as far as like a streaming service that I have in my house. I don't have Netflix. I don't have Tube. I don't have anything else. I just have Paramount Plus. I personally like South Park, and they have all their specials on there. So I have Paramount Plus, and my wife my Paramount Plus. I get HBO Max on my cell phone, so that's good to go. And I have a Plex server that I use in my house. That's my go-to for all of my entertainment. I have all my media sitting on there. I have all my music's on there, so I don't have to do anything or pay for. And I pay for that. I was with Plex from the beginning of Plex, right? So I just always had a meter server at home, streaming to my phone or whatever. So I never really, and again, it does take some knowledge, but I refuse to pay for iTunes and all these other stuff. I just don't want to do that. I want to go pick up a record put a vinyl record at the thrift store and come home and play it. I want to pick up CDs. I don't want to be streaming things like that. I just don't like it. And again, I'm not telling anybody else to do the same thing. I'm just saying I personally don't like it. And in that context, where I'm excited about the DeepSeek, not that I like DeepSeek personally, I just think that them coming in with this is gonna indicate to the big tech guys that you need to revamp how you are approaching this, because these guys can do this 80% cheaper than you can. So you need to either try to match them or something gotta give, because these guys are gonna dominate the space if you don't adjust. And this is how competition works, and I love it. So that's my take on it. I think it's interesting. Now, again, how it relates to you guys is they're now offering a LLM model that you can have in your organization that's focused on one topic or focusing on the topics you want, and it can run locally on your hardware in your organization, and your staff don't have to ask anybody else for instruction. They could just type it into the model. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. I don't see how that's a lose for you, right? And once you just set it up, you leave it there and it's good. So I think that's awesome. So like I always say, stay productive. And this is definitely a way to stay productive. So that's my take on DeepSeek and what's it's doing to the industry, and my takeaway from it, and how it's gonna shake up how we do tech business going forward. I mean, maybe it's just me as a hopeful. I'm just being hopeful that they get away with the subscription model. They probably won't, because they're making money from it. Again, I would just think that this is just kind of one step towards what I would want for them to eliminate this subscription model. Like, it probably won't happen. It's just a pipe dream for me, but I would like it to go away because I think it's stupid. So anyway, that's just my take on it. Stay productive.